Hey, what's going on, everybody? So today I'm going to be breaking down the top five ranged guardians in Disney Mirrorverse. So this list, I mean, I'm going to try my best to do a top five for every class, but honestly, I'll break down some of the abilities, but it really does, in this game specifically, I really think it just comes down to your specific roster. Everybody's going to have a very different opinion, so just disclaimer if you disagree with the list. I mean, everybody, this is just my opinion. But everybody's opinion will vary depending on who they also have experience with, who they use. Um, and the list might look very different, depending on your roster. But so I'm just going to do a general breakdown though, who I think are the top five best in the game. These will be based off of their abilities, and then somewhat of a little bit of my experience. So, but it won't just be coming off my experience. It'll be, based on their abilities, to the best of my knowledge. So, but yeah, let's just get right into it. So I'm gonna start off with number five and then work my way down to, number one. So number five for me is gonna be Buzz. He is my top guardian for ranged. He's Astro One for me. But what makes Buzz so good is he has just very strong armor removal, so he's a very good tank counter. And then he has strong damage over time with his shocks on his basic attacks. So once he removes their armor, because he also has armor steel in his kit, he's going to be doing a lot more damage to their health with his shocks. Um, he also, on his special attacks, once you do place a shock on them, he's going to place a stun on off his special. So that's really nice to have, especially when you're facing somebody that's annoying with their special attacks, maybe like a Maleficent, and you don't want her to place those incinerates on you. You can use his special to stun, and then she won't be able to use her special in that moment. So that's just one example, but that's a very powerful ability. So, and yeah, once their armor is down, he's going to be placing a lot of shocks and doing a lot of damage over time. So his traits are medium, high tech, gravity defying, leader, lawful, and Pixar. So lots of traits that he has to work with. Very good for towers, rift raids, especially the high tech and leader one. So that's where those are the common areas that I use him in. Um, and yeah, he's just a very strong character, but I do have him coming in at number five on my list. So number four is actually going to be Frozone. So he is heavily underrated, in my opinion. I don't see a lot of people using or talking about him, but he is ridiculously strong, especially I find he works best with tanks. Whether it's like Wally or, maybe Simba or Sully or Triton and Mr. Incredible. He's very good with them because they're up in the fight. They're taking a lot of hits, a lot of damage. They're doing what a tank should do. And then what he has, and what makes him so strong is he builds up cold charges with his basic attacks, which grants him focus buffs, and he can heal his allies through basic attacks. So what I like to do is whenever a tank is targeting an enemy, I will focus in on that enemy as well that they are targeting, and it'll shoot through that tank and damage the opponent as well as heal the tank. So, and then it'll also help with their, if you have like a Mike Wazowski and you're giving them extra shields or healing with another healer, it's just going to keep them topped off, which is really nice. So he also makes the healing stronger with support guardians, and then he can cleanse roots with his special attack. So if he's rooted, just use the special, and it'll cleanse the root. So he is obviously freeze immune, of course. So that is also very nice to have. If he passes through an ally with his special attack, that's also going to heal them. I believe it's 5%, so that's also very strong. And then he has a root mechanic with his crits, so that's nice for keeping like melee guardians away from your team or tanks, and they can just kind of keep them away. So That is pretty much what Frozone can do. I believe he's the only ranged guardian that has a heal ability, though. So when you pair him with another healer, he's gonna serve as basically another healer with that support. So uh, I've talked about it many, many, many times. But one of my favorite teams to run is Frozone, Mike Wazowski, and then a tank. And it just allows the tank to never die because he's constantly getting shields. He's healing off of Frozone's basic attacks. But yeah, he's very, very, very powerful, and I just don't see enough people talking about him. He's tall, high-tech, lawful, gravity-defying, and Pixar, so another nice high-tech guardian in the game. But I find that the lawful and gravity-defying traits come in handy in rift raids, and then he does work for the high-tech tower, so that's number four for me. So Frozone, very underrated. Doesn't really get talked about enough. I don't know if a lot of people really have him because he hasn't been dropped in the. He hasn't had like a crystal of his own, I don't think, since his event. So I don't think a lot of people have a high rated one. I really want to get him Astral. He's only a 5-star for me, but that's pretty high. I mean, he does his job. So, but yeah, he comes in at number four for me. Number three is going to be Jasmine. So Jasmine, she is immune to Dizzy debuff. She's a very good indestructible counter. In my opinion, the most annoying thing in this game right now is Dizzy debuff. It's just very, very annoying when you're missing the opponent and you're just trying to be aggressive and attack into them, and then you can't do anything about it, and you're just missing. So she has immunity to that. They're adding a lot more Dizzy debuffs and Guardians in the game that apply Dizzy debuffs, so she counters that. She's very strong for that. She's a strong tank counter, genie counter. She counters indestructible. She has a true strike buff, so she can ignore armor. She's just one of the best tank counters in the game, in my opinion. So uh, she also gains attack buffs with her signature ability, and then she's a decent stun and root counter. She decreases the duration of stun and roots, so that can be very, very nice to have as well. Uh, as a ranged guardian with Blade Wielder, I find that's very helpful for her. Um, Not many ranged guardians have that. It's usually a melee trait. So having Blade Wielder, Leader, Lawful, Royalty, and Medium. So those are very, very good traits. So yeah, hopefully I can get a higher rating, star rated 5-star Astral one day with her because she's very good. In my opinion, she's like built to counter a lot of the annoying nodes that are built into the game right now. So she comes in at number three for me, but very, very strong Guardian. But yeah, that's number three. So going into number two, I only have a 1-star version. So Elizabeth Swann for me is number two. Um, Very, very good seafaring option. She's seafaring, medium, blade wielder, book smart, lawful, and fortune seeker. So all really good, strong traits. But what makes Elizabeth Swann so unique to me is that she has a heal block, which there are not many of those in the game either. So she's a very strong support guardian counter. And then she has very strong damage. She applies the breaker codes, and then her damage just goes up and up and up. She has a very strong root mechanic in her kit, and then she gains focus buffs on her special. She's a strong dizzy counter, so that's another ability. Again, kind of like Jasmine, we're seeing more of those counters being put into the game as they release more of those nodes. So yeah, and then like I said, her traits, Blade Wielder and Fortune Seeker, Book Smart, Seafaring, those are all really strong traits as well. So only a 1-star version, but I do have to give her credit where credit's due. I think she's the number one option also for Seafaring Tower, as there's not a lot of Seafaring options for ranged Guardians. So yeah, she comes in at number two for me. Super powerful Guardian in the game. Number one is a Guardian that did get nerfed, which is unfortunate, but still has the highest damage per second in the game. Just really strong DPS, and that is Zerg. So Zerg, like I said, he has his rapid fire mode, so high DPS. He has a strong root mechanic on his special attack. He can armor steal, which is actually very, very insane still to this day, even with the nerf. He just a strong tank counter. I mean, you just go into rapid fire mode, and you're going to see him gain all that armor off of the tank. So that is very, very strong. He can purge defense buffs. And then, like I said, he has the root mechanic, so he can keep them away as well. And then his traits are tall, villainous, and high tech, gravity defying, scary, and Pixar. So scary is extremely useful, especially in rift raids. Uh, and then there's always a place for high tech and gravity defying. So very good traits. I Even though mine's close to a 5 star and I don't use him quite much anymore. I use Buzz and Frozone a lot more. That's just because my personal roster, they're much higher star rating. They're, higher level. Frozone's also level 80. I just took Zerg to level 80 recently. So, but I have a level 90 Astro 1 Buzz. So he's just stronger, in my opinion, for me, but that doesn't mean that he's the stronger guardian in the game. I mean, he's definitely, in my opinion, still the number one in the game. So I'm very, very close myself to getting him to a 5 star. So I recently took him to level 80 in preparation for that. Next time I see maybe a 3 star in the Stardust store, I'll go ahead and purchase it just to get the 5 star. And then if I like the damage that I'm seeing, then I'm gonna take him up to 90. But those are the top five in the game, Range Guardians, in my opinion. That's just my list. Some other notable mentions that didn't make the list that I think are very powerful. Maleficent, she's very, very strong, has a strong incinerate. What I like about her is that she can incinerate everybody on the map. So her special attack can hit everybody no matter where they're at. Um, so she has very strong damage, and she's also very good for story mode. She has to be used for with Bell. You have to use the two of them if you want to explore all the story. Gaston is very strong as well. Just has very strong damage. And yeah, so those are. I'm not really sure on Tron. I still have not pulled him, but those are the best. Top five range guardians in Disney Mirrorverse, in my opinion. But yeah, just let me know what you thought of this list. If you agree, disagree, who your top five are, who you've been enjoying playing. And I also do think she's up there as well. She's a very strong range guardian. But yeah, let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all those things. But yeah, I'll be making a top five list for all the classes. And the next one will be tech, or not tech. I'm sorry, tank. So I'll get into that one next. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day.